I the a-hole for refusing to offer any kind of support to my children's half-siblings? I have two children who are now 12 and 11 with my ex who passed a little over a year ago. While we were still together, he ended up becoming infatuated with this addict who he left me for. They married and had two small children together. He had limited contact with our children because I fought to keep my kids away from her. Then my ex died, and his wife lost her parental rights, which from the sounds of it, she was fine with. My ex's family wanted me to take the two children and raise them, with the offer of financial assistance from them to aid in that working. I said no, and it led to tension. I did allow them to keep contact going and set up visits, but I do not want to be involved in those other two children. My former in-laws have both run into some health problems, and they have continued turning to me for help, which I have said no to. Recently, my former father-in-law was hospitalized after a heart attack, and my former mother-in-law told me that someone needs to step up and help them with the kids. I said I'm not going to do it. I told them it can never be me, and they need to accept that and find someone else. Now I'm running into a lot of crap from extended family who do not live nearby, saying I am the closest thing they have to a parent now, and that my former in-laws are unlikely to be healthy enough to raise these kids to 18. And it would be evil of me to let the kids go into foster care or get sent states away from their siblings to live with me. They also claim I am going to make my kids hate me, which I seriously doubt. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Even if the ex had not cheated, you do not have immoral, and certainly not legal, obligation to those children. But he did. So it is even more understandable that you would not want to raise those kids. Tell your in-laws and everyone else that 1. You've moved on from your ex and feel no obligation towards him outside of your children. 2. They can either step up and take them. 3. To spend their time finding someone in the mother's family to take them instead of harassing you. I truly think his family has some nerve. They are the a-holes. It's appalling how so many posts here are. Hey, so your ex that you have kids with can no longer care for the children he or she had with another, and you already have prior kids with them. So you should take these children in too. I agree. I haven't been on platform long and I'm shocked by the question, but appalled by the demand. It's always people that are actually related to the children that don't want or can't handle the responsibility. Yes, I periodically have to walk away for months at a time. The constant reminder of how society gaslights women into thinking that enforcing boundaries make them a-holes really starts to get to me. Not the a-hole. And you'll never be the a-hole for declining to take in children that you, 1. Have no familial or emotional connection to, 2. That are the children of your ex and his new partner, and 3. Most importantly, that you don't want to raise. I feel sorry for the kids, don't get me wrong, but they are absolutely not your obligation to care for, and the issue should have been dropped as soon as you said no the first time. Your former in-laws are completely out of line for trying to guilt you into raising the kids their son created with the woman he left you for. How terribly insensitive. Taking them in also opens the door to having to deal with their mother. Even if she's lost parental rights, there's no guarantee that the kids won't seek out a relationship with her, or that she won't reach out to them if/when she gets clean. Additionally, since you limited the contact your kids had with their father/half-siblings, I'm assuming they don't have strong ties to the kids. In which case, I'd argue it's more likely that they'll resent you if you do take them in. Not only will they have permanently lost their dad, but their lives will be further upended by the introduction of two young strangers. It isn't fair to anyone to do this. If your extended family members believe you're failing these children, so be it. They have the option to step up and take them in, but they aren't. Doesn't that make them just as evil as you? My kids don't have that strong of a relationship with them at all. If my former in-laws and I didn't arrange visits with them all, they would never ask me to see them. They never asked about them or wanted to see them when their dad was alive, and they had such limited contact with him. Honestly, they consider each other their only sibling, and their half-siblings are just kids they see sometimes. But I know that could change one day, so I keep access since it's now far safer to do so. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to cook dinner for my stepmother and her guests, after she's been refusing to let me eat the food she cooks? 16 male here. My dad married my stepmom just about a year ago. She didn't want me to live here and wants me gone. I've insisted that I should stay as I don't want to live with my mom. Her husband is a piece of work, so we're always clashing. She announced last month that she wouldn't allow me to eat anything she cooks, or cook anything that she buys, and I should arrange my own food completely separately, down to the ingredient level, including salt. because I'm not her problem to deal with. This is annoying, but anyway, I can handle it and I didn't want to act entitled. So I started buying and cooking my own food. We've been going like this since then. Her sister had an accident a few days ago. And on the day of the accident, stepmother texted me in the afternoon saying she's bringing the sister's children over and they'll arrive around midnight, ask me to buy groceries and snacks and make a late dinner for them. I never replied to her and didn't do anything. I have to say that while for a few hours it didn't look good for her sister and had to go into surgery, it ended up being successful and she will thankfully make a full recovery. They came. She noticed there's no food and they indeed were hungry, so she was angry at me. I told her that is not my problem to deal with, and she said I'm being a jerk, and I said, takes one to know one. She ended up ordering pizza. My dad told me that I was out of line, and I should have just done what she wanted me to do because it was an emergency, and I should have done a favor for her, and it would have gone a long way to improve our relationship. I told him that our relationship has always been hopeless because she hated me for no reason. So there's nothing I can do that can make her hate me any less. And at this point, I've accepted it and don't care anymore. He said it's not true and now I'm grounded. Not today, Ho. Why is your dad allowing this to happen? You are 16 and living at home. You shouldn't be paying for your own food. Make your dad fix this problem. My dad pays me for the food I buy, although stepmother believes I should pay for it myself because I have an income. Yeesh, at least that's something. I'm so sorry you have to live in a house where your stepmom treats you like that. What you did was understandable considering your age and circumstances. Was it petty? If guests weren't arriving until midnight, the stepmother should have asked her husband to grocery shop and make food. Why ask Opie after treating him very badly? Because she's trying to manufacture drama to drive Opie out. What a nasty piece of work. When people say you should aim for fairy tale endings, they don't mean becoming the evil step-parent. Not stay home. She set a precedent in home, and when it came back to bite her, she got angry. It's unfortunate your dad allows her to say you can't eat food she buys when you're still a minor in his home. And it's even more a shame that after allowing that behavior from her, he expected you to do for her sister's kids what she won't do for you. It's also not your responsibility as the minor in the household to improve your relationship with your stepmom who clearly resents you. It's extremely unfortunate that you don't seem to get along with the spouse of either of your parents. I think you need to sit down and ask your dad why he has higher standards for you, a teenager, than he does his wife, a full-grown adult. I'm a stepmom, and I most certainly think it's my problem if my stepchild is hungry. I also don't understand why he'd marry someone who is combative and not loving toward you. You were part of him, and she supposedly loves him, so what gives? I'm not sure what I'd do in your shoes since either parent's home sounds horrible to be in at the moment. Shame on your dad for failing to stand up for you though, when you needed it. It was the perfect opportunity for him to tell her that she shouldn't expect you to do for other kids what she won't do for you. The kids got fed. She ordered them a pizza. There was no reason to punish you for not obeying someone who can't treat you properly. She's got some twisted priorities to think feeding her sister's kids is her problem, but feeding her stepson is not. I'm utterly appalled at your dad for allowing her to order you to buy your own food. That's reasonable if you were an adult living in their home, but not as a minor living in their home. I do think I might use her food anyways and ignore her insane position, or sit her down and iron out expectations. I think you need to tell her point blank that she set an example for you to follow. So if she's angry with how you handled yourself, she asks herself to thank for your point of view. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for asking my dad why can he accept my sister but not me? My female 17 dad, male 43, wanted all boys. I was the second born and a girl, something he didn't want. Because of that, my childhood has consisted of him being hard on me and us rarely talking to each other. My parents have 5 kids, 2 girls, 3 boys. The youngest is his other daughter, female 7. They have a great relationship. He talks with her, actually does stuff with her like watch movies, play Barbies, and with her baby dolls. I'm happy for my sister. I'm glad she's getting a good relationship with our dad. But it hurts a lot to see, especially considering my dad has never told me he loves me. And we have never even hugged, 2 things he has done with all my siblings. A week ago, I accidentally came home late from hanging out with my best friend. I tried rushing home as fast as I could, but I was still 3 minutes late. Once I came home, my dad started yelling at me, and when I said, sorry, I lost track of time, he yelled at me more, calling me irresponsible and that I don't think. My younger sister then came running to him asking if he wanted to watch a movie with her. And he said, "Yes, honey, just wait a few minutes, then I'll watch a movie with you." I've never yelled at my dad before, but all of the hurt just had been building up my whole life. I finally lost it. I asked, "Why can't you treat me well? Why do you hate me so much? You have shown you have loved my brothers and my younger sister, but you never have shown you loved me. I don't get it." He told me not to yell at him and go to my room, so I went to my room and cried. A while after, he came to my room probably after he watched a movie with my sister. He took my phone away and proceeded to say that he had always provided for me, and that's all that should matter. I didn't even say anything back. I didn't want to argue. My dad and I haven't talked since I was grounded for 5 days. I asked my older brother if I did something wrong. He said I probably shouldn't have yelled at him, but I said what needed to be said. I overheard my parents talking, and my mom was trying to explain what I was meaning, but my dad just called me an immature brat, and that I need to grow up. I felt like what I said wasn't wrong, but my dad has been making me feel like I'm crazy and in the wrong. So, am I the a-hole? Now, for the comments. Not the a-hole. I am so sorry your parents treat you so horribly. And I say parents because although the main perpetrator is your father, your mother has epically failed you by standing by and watching the blatant favoritism while having more children with a man whose love is dependent on gender. You are almost an adult. Please make sure you have a plan on how to remove yourself from this toxicity and heal from the damage your awful father has done. This should include figuring out how to support yourself financially and get counseling to mitigate the damage he has done. Parents who have no issue treating one of their children wildly different than the others also have no issue throwing that child out of their house once their legal obligations end at 18. Or before. I wonder if this is just a case of the scapegoat and he's just using her as his emotional punching bag. There doesn't need to be a golden child, but if the brothers can see the huge disparity between treatment of siblings, then yeah, Opie's definitely the scapegoat and needs to get out and get put in therapy because this sort of trauma has lasting effects. I wonder if Opie's father might suspect she's not his. It definitely sounds like he's got something against her. Not Dayhole. Sadly, your dad wanted boys and took out his unhappiness of having girls on you. It only seems to have accepted having a daughter once he had 3 sons and gotten what he wanted out of having sons. It seems you might be the scapegoat in your family. Edit. Also, any parents whose response to their child feeling unloved is to say they financially supported you so it's fine is an a-hole because they literally have the legal obligation to do that. So it isn't saying much about them as a person beside they follow the law. Yes, I guess I never really understood why he could be a loving father to my sister but never changed how he treated me. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for wanting to go to university instead of finding full-time job to help my mother with supporting my siblings? I am female 18 and this year I graduated from high school and applied for universities. And I got accepted to university of my choice. In my country, universities are completely free, no tuition fee. I got accepted to university in my hometown, which would allow me to live at home and work part-time to help my mother with living cost. Or I could go to university in another town, to which I got scholarship based on my grades and exam results. Meaning that I would have my dorm and food covered and could focus solely on my studies. I come from a large family. I am the oldest child of 8 and my mother is a single mom. My mother doesn't get child support for most of my siblings' dads, and she mostly gets alimony payments provided by our government and she gets some social benefit payments as well. I told my mother about my university options and she wasn't happy at all. She was discouraging me from applying in the first place, but I did it regardless. She originally wanted me to go to trade school instead of high school. After trade school, you cannot go to university because you lack qualifications. She wasn't happy. She told me that I shouldn't go because she needs me to go and find a full-time work. My mother doesn't work, so I can help with the cost of living. She also needs me to stay home because she needs help with my siblings. I really want to go, but my mother told my siblings, and my youngest sister cried because I am abandoning them. That's what my mother told them. I accepted a university place in secret and was planning on telling my mother just before I move out. But she opened up my letter regarding my scholarship and dorm and found out. She blew up at me, told me I didn't care about my siblings, that I'm selfish and only think about myself. She accused me of being cruel, and my little sister called me an a-hole and my mother agreed. I am devastated. Am I really an a-hole for wanting to go to university? Should I stay and find a job? Not the a-hole. Supporting children is the parent's job. It does not belong to one of the children. Your mom could make an effort to get child support from the various fathers or try to find a job. You should not be giving up university to support your siblings. This is right, OP. You are not required to sacrifice your future for the sake of others. Your mom has made it this far. She'll be able to save money since you won't be home. You won't be eating food or using utilities. There will be more space in the house. You're not abandoning anyone. You're growing up and moving on with the next phase in life. It's okay. Not stay home. Not stay home. She's responsible for all those kids she chose to have, not you. Go to university. Do whatever you want. Exactly. Mom seems to want Opie to just repeat the pattern she's set. If Opie gets no education, she'll have to settle for low-paying jobs. Then when she has kids, she'll probably need their help as well. The best thing Opie can do for her siblings is to set a good example and make a good life for herself. Nothing against trade school, but that isn't what she wants, and this is her life. Exactly. As a mom myself, it pains me seeing her mom be like this. All I want for my daughter is to be happy and do what she wants in life. That's it. I brought her into the world. She doesn't owe me a single thing.